Hey there, Colin Exelby, Certified Financial Planner here, and welcome to this short guide titled, What's in It for Me? Yes, today I'm going to guide you through the $2 trillion Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or CARES for short. This is the CliffsNotes guide to the CARES Act stimulus for individuals. Now, YouTube and Google love likes, so please, I would encourage you to give this video a like and don't keep it for yourself. The more we can help together and arm people with financial knowledge, the better. So make sure you share it with somebody you think could benefit from it. Now, I'm a big believer in mindset. Our frame of mind when dealing with financial matters can have a big impact on our future wealth. Some people out there will play the role of victim, but some will adapt and evolve. This crisis has the potential to change the U.S. economy forever, and in many potentially huge and positive ways. Now look, there's a huge difference between those who are able to grow during a time of crisis and those who shrink. One person responds while the other reacts. One seeks out knowledge while the other waits for the news to tell them what to do. The number one question we've been receiving related to the CARES Act is, what's in it for me? Or more specifically, will I be receiving any relief from the government? Well, the answer is it depends, and I know that's not the answer that a lot of people like to get, but it does depend. The funds appropriated are designed to go to those who are most in need, those with children, retirees on fixed incomes, and individuals with lower incomes. If you own a business or you're a freelancer, there's additional benefits that might apply. Check out my other video that I recorded last week on the CARES Act and how to get cash for businesses. Now, to learn how this bill affects you as an individual, stick around and we'll get into the details together. Hey there, Colin Exelby, Certified Financial Planner here, and today we are going to talk about the $2 trillion Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or the CARES Act for short. More specifically, I'm going to let you know what's in it for you. Now, today's summary is for individuals, not business owners. First, let's talk about those who've either been laid off or furloughed. I'm sure you're in a tough position and one that 2 months ago you wouldn't have even thought possible. But here's what's in it for you. The CARES Act has expanded unemployment insurance for workers, including a $600 per week increase in the benefits for up to 4 months, and federal funding of the unemployment insurance benefits provided to those not usually eligible for it, such as self-employed, independent 1099 contractors, and those with a limited work history. They've really opened up the spigots here to try to get information and to try to get money to those who are most in need. Now, the federal government, it's incentivizing states to repeal any of their waiting week provisions that prevent unemployed workers from getting benefits as soon as they're laid off. They've fully funded the first week of unemployment insurance for states that suspend those waiting periods. Additionally, the federal government will fund an additional 13 weeks of unemployment benefits all the way through December 31st of this year, after workers have run out of state unemployment benefits. I really hope it doesn't last that long, but at least the government is trying to think about the future, and maybe this does last longer than 30, 60, or 90 days. And while these benefits don't replace lost income, they can help cushion the blow in the short term. Now, what if you weren't laid off? Or what if you were retired, not working to begin with? Well, there's something in here for the vast majority of Americans, so let's get into it. This bill provides a $1,200 refundable tax credit for individuals and $2,400 for joint taxpayers. Additionally, taxpayers with children will receive a flat $500 for each child. Now, it's important to note, this is a credit, not a deduction, and sometimes people confuse what those are. A deduction reduces your taxable income by the amount of the deduction. A tax credit is money that's basically given to each taxpayer. This is money that's being directly deposited into your bank account if you had automatic deposit set up for your most recently filed tax return. If you didn't, a check will be mailed to you. Now, we expect the auto deposits should be relatively quick, but this is the government that we're dealing with. Unfortunately, checks could take months to show up, and it's really not good, but it's the way that things work. So when setting up your tax returns, try your best to do electronic deposits if you can, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. Now, these rebates will not be counted as taxable income for recipients because this rebate is a credit against taxes already owed. So don't worry about owing taxes on this money. Now, the caveat here is that not everyone is going to receive this tax credit. Like I said, this is money that's going to those who are perceived to be most in need. This tax credit phases out for households over certain income levels. Now, I'm going to summarize them here, but the best thing you can do is use an online calculator. It's quick and easy if you know your adjusted gross income number, or your AGI, from the most recently filed tax return. I'm going to post a link to the calculator that Forbes put out in the notes here. It's a really good calculator, and just click on that link, put in your AGI, and it'll immediately tell you whether or not you're going to get money and how much you are going to get. It's quick and easy to find it out. Now, for the purposes of this video, the rebate phases out at $75,000 for singles, $112,500 for heads of household, and $150,000 for joint taxpayers. It phases out completely when you reach $99,000 for single taxpayers with no children and $198,000 for joint taxpayers with no children. If you have children and are below the phase-out levels, like I said, you'll receive an additional $500 per child. But if your income is above the phase-out levels, it's my understanding that no distributions will be made, period. Now, here's something interesting. What if you had a baby in 2019? And what if you're eligible for care benefits? It may make sense to get your taxes filed as soon as you can. And the reason is that your benefit amount, it's based off of your most recently filed tax return. So if you had a child that was born in 2019, you may want to get that 2019 tax return filed so that the government is using that one and not 2018's when you didn't have that child. Then you could potentially receive up to $500 depending upon your income limits for that child. This CARES Act is very structurally similar to the 2008 rebate design. The credit is one time, but policymakers may consider additional rebates if this downturn goes longer and longer into the future. The U.S. Tax Foundation, it estimates that nearly all filers in the lower 80% of income brackets will receive a rebate, but only 0.1% of filers above the 99th percentile will receive a rebate due to the phase-outs. Now, this bill is also aimed to help charities. Beginning with 2020 tax returns, taxpayers will be able to claim up to $300 in cash contributions to the charity as a deduction without itemizing. So that's a little bit of a nugget that's in there so that we can hopefully keep our charitable contributions going and make sure that we get a deduction for them. Now, let's talk about retirement accounts because there's some changes that happen there. Here's a key point for those who have retirement accounts like IRAs, 401ks, thrift savings plans, and certain deferred comp plans. If you need money before you've reached the 59.5 age eligibility level, it's waiving the 10% penalty. Now, you don't avoid taxes because you've never been taxed on this money, but your taxes can be spread out over 3 years. That's another nice benefit. In addition, you now have the ability to take a distribution from your 401k plan while still being employed. Previously, the only way to get access to it while still employed was through a loan. This new situation allows you to take a distribution according to the terms that I just laid out. Now, there's a few hoops that you have to jump through, including being able to show that you've been adversely impacted, but that's beyond the scope of this video. In my opinion, while this is a nice advantage and is a good place as kind of a last place to go, this really should be looked at one of the last places that you should look for money. Now, what if you or your parent or your grandparent is taking the required minimum distributions from your retirement accounts? In 2020, that requirement is now waived. So the funds can continue to potentially grow without taxes. You aren't required to take that money out this year. And if you've already taken the distribution, but you're eligible to roll that money back into the plan, so generally within the last 60 days, you're able to do so. Now, for certain individuals, such as those who have an inherited IRA, if you've already taken distributions, you cannot put the money back. But if you haven't yet taken a distribution, you're not required to do so in 2020. Now, because these distributions generally increase taxable income, it may be advisable to delay taking that money until 2021. You want to make sure that you're going to speak with your financial and your tax advisors about how this relates to your specific situation. Now, lastly, as you know, many in the workforce have student loans. Employers, if they are willing, may contribute up to $5,250 annually towards student loans, and these payments would be excluded from employees' income. So make sure that you know if your employer is helping out with these student loans. Now, I know this is an extremely difficult position for many families around the country. Our health and our safety ultimately comes first. I'm trying to do my part by spreading knowledge about what may be available to you from the financial side and how to plan for it. This crisis has exposed the cracks that were in many people's financial foundation. If you know someone who could be helped by seeing this video, please don't keep it to yourself. The more people we can help, the better. Thanks again. Get clear, be clear, and make sure you survive to the other side. Till next time. Thank you so much for watching my video. I want to be your source for financial planning strategies. I know there's tons of information out there. We're scouring Google, hoping to find information that's pertinent to our situation, but we never know. There's so much information out there now, and I want my team to be your resource. So make sure you subscribe here. Anytime there's a new video released, we want it to ping and let you know so you can check it out. Make sure you check out the blog, seetheforestthroughthetrees.com, a lifestyle blog that does a tremendous job of bringing curated content from not only us but other people. Thanks again for following us, and we look forward to seeing you again.